Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're keeping on with our series in Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakenheim, talking about the subclasses that my fellow YouTubers, the Dungeon Dudes, have built for their campaign world, and indeed for D&D 5e in general. Kelly and Monty, the Dungeon Dudes themselves, have done lots of videos. They've been on the platform for many years, and one of the things that you can always rely on them disagreeing about is the monk. See, Monty, ever the mathematician, ever the planner, possibly even an optimizer, call him what you will, sees the monk as wasted potential, something that sounds cool in theory, but just doesn't add up to much because of the mechanics of 5th edition. Kelly, on the other hand, is an individual that loves monks, loves the fantasy of monks, and always tries to see the positives in their utility, kind of switch-hitter style fighting, as well as their pseudo-magical key powers. But even he has to admit that the monk's been done a little dirty. So when it came time for them to make their monk subclass, they came through. Today we're talking about the monk way of the Arcane Hand. We'll get into the details of this magical monk in just a moment, but before we do, I'd like to let you know, Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. First, you get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter. But also, you get early access to my videos. I upload videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I upload them a day early for members only. So if that interests you, you can click the join button just down there below the video. I'd love to see you in the comments. If it doesn't, that's totally fine. I'm still thankful for you watching the videos and supporting me, so thank you very much. Monks choose their subclass at level 3, and the Way of the Arcane Hand begins with a couple features right off the bat. First of all, they get their magical expertise. It's called Erudite Education. Erudite Education. Alright, it's got a weird name. Either way, this skill gives you the Arcana proficiency, which is not a bad one to have. And it boosts your intelligence-based ability checks. So, what we're saying here is that the intelligence-based abilities are Arcana, which you just got proficiency in, Nature, History, and Religion, as well as Investigation. And when you make these checks as an Arcane Hand monk, you get to add your Wisdom modifier to the check. So you're getting a nice, solid boost in all intelligence checks. Really, really nice power. It makes the monk feel like they have the knowledge of the arcane, as well as many other things. So I say 9 out of 10 for that. And then you get spellcasting. See, in D&D, there are 13 classes, not including the apothecary class that the Dungeon Dudes invented. And of those 13 classes, 9 of them naturally get magic. The 4 that don't naturally get magic are barbarians, fighters, monks, and rogues. Barbarians are like anti-magic because their rage stops them from casting spells just by default. And fighters and rogues have a spell-casting subclass, the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster, both of which are very highly renowned for their power. Monks seem to be this odd exception, because monks have pseudo-magical energy, ki. Why can they not use it to cast spells? Well, there were a couple. The Shadow Monk gave you the power to cast things like darkness, and the 4 Elements Monk allowed you to use your ki to cast elemental-style spells like Burning Hands and Fireball. But the problem is that these were incredibly limited use. They were heavy tax on your ki points, and a lot of the time it was the only ability that you had from the subclass. These guys just said, no ki points, spell slots. So just like the Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight before this subclass just gets magic. At 3rd level, they get 1st level spells and cantrips, and then they go up at the 1/3 caster rate, gaining 2nd level spells at level 7, 3rd level spells at level 13, and finally 4th level spells way at the end of the game at level 19. So they're certainly not scaling with regular casters, but they're going to get some extra powers to help with this. They're also a wisdom-based caster, which is awesome because the monk is a wisdom-based class, and therefore they can start snatching spells from the wizard list and casting them with wisdom. It's a wonderful ability, and even though they're just a 1/3 caster, so they aren't as powerful as many of the other casters in the game, this is still worthy of a 9 out of 10. But then the last thing you get at level 3, we're not even done with level 3 yet. The last thing you get is called Eldritch Flurry. And this modifies the way that you can cast spells and attack. When you take the attack action, you can, instead of doing so, cast a spell. You can cast a cantrip by doing this. So, when you attack, you can cast a spell, and for the purposes of your other monk features, such as Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind, and other things that require you to take the attack action, casting a spell counts. So if you attack and cast a spell using that action, it counts, and you can still Flurry of Blows or whatever. On top of that, if you spend the key point to Flurry of Blows, you can, instead of Flurry of Blowsing, cast a spell that would take an action as a bonus action. So you get Quicken Spell for just 1 key point. What's interesting is the way this all synergizes. You are still a monk. You can run in, punch, Flurry of Blows, punch, punch. You can still do that. Or you can run in, firebolt somebody with your action, Flurry of Blows, punch, punch. Or you can attack with your action, punch or hit someone with a weapon, and then using Flurry of Blows, you can quicken a spell, and with your bonus action, cast it instead. So basically, using your attack action and your bonus action and your key points, you can mix and match your spells and your physical attacks as you see fit. And this is exactly what we want from a spellcaster monk, and it's 10 out of 10. The amount of extra spells you can put out using this power, or the ease that you can combine your casting and your martial arts, is perfect. Alright, let's move on to level 6, where we get Arcane Empowerment. This one really can help amongst damage. While concentrating on a spell, remember, you're just using 1st level spells here. While you're concentrating on a spell, you add twice the spell's level to the damage of your attacks. So at this point, at level 6, while you concentrate on a 1st level spell, every attack you make, it has to be like a physical attack. It can't be a spell. It gets to add double the spell's level, so you're concentrating on a 1st level spell, and then you just go in and start hitting. Now you're adding 2 damage to each attack, which is actually pretty decent. The very next level, level 7, you can start concentrating on a 2nd level spell, and now you can add 4 to each attack. That is the equivalent of having Hex on a target, or Hunter's Mark on a target, adding like 1d6, except it's a flat 4. That's amazing, especially because you've already got extra attack at this point. So you can very reliably make 4 attacks a turn, adding an extra 16 damage, and there is no limit to this. You just have to be concentrating on a spell. This is phenomenal empowerment of your melee strikes. So this is 10 out of 10 again, because you want to be concentrating on a spell, no question. Now, at level 11, things get a little criminally insane, because you can get the ability called Focus Power. At this point in your career, you've still got 2nd level spells, and you're going to get 3rd level ones here in a little bit. Focus Power allows you to upcast spells using your key. So take a spell like Scorching Ray, for example. A 2nd level spell, which you can absolutely learn, fires off 3 motes of fire at enemies, 3 individual attacks. And when you upcast it, it fires off extra shots. If you use your key points to upcast the spell, it's just like casting it with a higher level slot, even slots that you don't have. So the cap is your proficiency bonus. Right now your proficiency bonus at level 11 would be a +4. So using 2 key points, you can, and a second level spell slot, you cast Scorching Ray, and then you use the 2 key points to fire the 2 additional rays. So now you're shooting 5 instead of 3. And yeah, you can do this with other things as the game goes on. Once you get to 13th level, your proficiency bonus is up at 5, and you have 3rd level spell slots, so you can upcast your Fireball, or upcast Fly, or upcast, whatever spell would get buffed by putting it up a couple extra levels. You can use your key to do that. This is the sort of thing that sorcerers wish they could do with their meta magic, and the monks can do it with the key points, which come back on a short rest. So you're empowering your magic better than sorcerers are. I mean, you still have lower spell slots. You're still working with 2nd level. They've got 6th level by this point. But upcasting does help close that gap quite a lot, and this is another 10 out of 10 feature. We are really rocking. But it's not the only thing we get at level 11. We also get spell resistance, and this might be one of the most powerful player abilities I've ever seen in the game. You get magic resistance, i.e. advantage on all saving throws against spells, which is a feature that normally would get a race broken, like the Yuan-Ti and the Satyr have magic resistance, and they're often banned in mainstream games. But this one actually goes a step further and gives you resistance to the damage from spells as well. Excuse me? Like, not only do we get advantage on our saving throw, which means very likely we're going to be succeeding on our saving throw and taking half damage, now we have resistance to the damage, which means that we're actually taking a quarter damage. So now we just aren't going to get hurt by magic. Like any spellcaster that's flinging stuff at us, we're going to be fine. And a couple levels from now, because we're a monk, we get Diamond Soul, which gives us proficiency in every saving throw. High-level Arcane Hand monks, no spellcaster is going to take them down. This is absolutely mind-blowingly powerful, and it's 10 out of 10. It's honestly more than that. It's 20 out of 10. But I'm giving it 10 out of 10. It's fantastic, and level 11 truly is such a pivotal moment for the Arcane Hand monk. Finally, at level 17, we have the meditative casting feature. And if you didn't think that the monk was powerful enough yet, watch this. When you cast a spell that takes concentration, by this level, you're still working with 3rd level spell slots. I mean, you can upcast them to level 6, but the spells themselves are still level 3. So you can cast a 6th level Fireball with your spell slot and 3 key points, or whatever. But if you're casting a concentration spell, haste, slow, hypnotic pattern, take your pick of the great concentration spells out there, you can use the key points equal to the spell's level, which is 3 at this point, or if you upcast it, it'll be more. So if you upcast a 6th level spell slot, you'd have to use 6 key points. But when you do this, you can remove the concentration requirement. Sure, why not? That's not one of the most broken things you can do to spells in the game is remove their concentration, because then you can cast them multiple times and the concentration can't be broken, so you can summon, you can fly, you can do all sorts of stuff and not be afraid of losing your focus. It does cost key points, but you're level 17. You've got so much key and you get it back on a short rest. You're not worried about that. Every concentration spell you cast, you should be using this and removing the concentration requirement, because then you can't lose it. I mean, yeah, you've got proficiency in con saves. Who cares? You don't need to worry about losing concentration ever. So, yeah, it does reduce the time to 1 minute. So if you're going to use this on fly, for example, weigh the options, concentrate on it for 10 minutes, or don't concentrate on it for 1 minute. But still, a flying monk that it doesn't have to worry about falling out of the sky. I guess they don't have to anyway because they have slow fall. Either way, this is 10 out of 10, and I don't think it's a hard sell to convince you that the Arcane Hand monk is 10 out of 10. Spellcasting on a monk and this much enhancement of both your monk abilities when you concentrate on spells and on your spell casting and your spell resistance. Absolutely 10 out of 10, S tier, the best monk that's ever been made, and quite possibly the best subclass in all of Sebastian Crow's. This is fantastic, and the Dungeon Dudes have truly shown us how you build a powerful monk. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, as well as a link to Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakkenheim. It's published by Ghostfire Games, written by the Dungeon Dudes, and I highly suggest you check it out for yourself. Have a good one, my friends.